I'm making my way to the hayfield to change sets. Now, we irrigate the old-fashioned way where you use canvas tarps and V-frames in order to move your water around the field. It's considered to be somewhat inefficient, but it is definitely a lot less expensive than having the water wheels and all that stuff like that. You know, the upfront cost for irrigating via ditches and tarps is pretty low. The field's up there. Let's just cut across because my set is actually just over this hill. I call this one the big tree field because there's a big tree in the middle of it. And every field has to have a name so you know where you're talking about. Let's see. And yes, this pasture is definitely done. We had a very dry March, which meant that the horses decimated it pretty quickly because most of our grasses in Montana are cool season grasses, and it is definitely not the cool season. And once we get up to the field, you'll notice that the grass is kind of short. Again, we had a hot May, which caused much of the grass to head out by the end of May, beginning of June, and now we're almost to the end of July, and our irrigation district did not turn on until the end of May, beginning of June. Now, they've been giving us more water than we have gotten in the past, so we're finally hitting places in the field that haven't seen water in 10 years. And here's the set. First thing we're gonna do is we're gonna look at the spread. This is kind of the roadside, so you can look. We make V-frames that situate in the ditch. We'll put that under there. It holds up the tarp to keep the water from pushing the tarp out of the way. Not every set requires a V, but they're pretty handy to help keep it from blowing out. And just use, you can go get, either use whatever scrap wood you have lying around, or go to Home Depot to the 90% off twisted wood bin, and you can get the tops of your tarp. You buy rolls of tarp. This orange tarp comes in rolls. This one is, oh, what size was that? I think it was the 9 foot, was it? Anyways, it comes in rolls 50 to 100 feet length, and it's the size of the tarp is predetermined, and they all have this little sleeve you can slip your wood into, make a little pocket so that you can give your dam some shape. First thing I do when I get out here is I look and see how far my irrigation got to see if it's a good set. So we look for the edge, and we walk around, and we try to make a mental note whether this was a good set or a bad set. This grass will take a few days to really green up, but within about 2 weeks, this whole area will look totally different than it does right now. This was a fairly decent set. It starts off close here, but then it widens out, and we see that the overnight set was a success and go pretty far. Yes, I know it's an abysmal looking field, and yeah, this is the first time this part of the field has gotten water in a lot of years, just because we've been fighting with the irrigation district. But we're finally seeing progress, and maybe we're finally seeing some real change. Yes, good. Oh, and there's the goats. Yes, I let the goats be out. They can't hurt much. There's only a few of them. There's 35 acres. So they spread pretty thin, and they usually just keep moving. They trim the tops of things. Then I don't have to break out the hay to feed them unless it's necessary. They'll probably be put up when we're actually haying. Yes, good set. Can't ask for much better at this level of flow. Yes. All right. Since I just have a phone, not really a GoPro or anything, I don't know how I'll be able to show you exactly how I put in the sets if I don't have a helper. Maybe next time I'll bring a kid out to hold the camera. Anyway, what I look for in a good place to make a set is I look for natural dips in the ground that might make the water travel out further. I'll need to go up on this dry side, and let's look for spots along here that might make a good place to put a set. We also need to look at the natural lay of the ground. You can take like your thumb and kind of measure to see if the ground is flat. In places you're looking for divots where water is going to not want to naturally flow. And yes. Oh, and yeah, the next thing we're going to do to this field is hopefully in the spring we're going to harrow it, because obviously it's a little sad out there, and I know I can already hear it. Why haven't you harrowed? Why haven't you reseeded? Well, we've been fighting for years to get irrigation out here, and we're finally getting some this year. So I'm going to mark my spot here. This looks like a good spot because see, we've got a little moisture here, so obviously this spot is a little bit lower. And on the other side, where I don't really want the water to go, seems higher because there's not a lot of moisture right there. So I'm going to take my shovel here, my handy dandy short shovel for short people, and just mark my spot. That way I remember where it was, and my hands are free to go and pull my dam. So I'll do that, and we'll bring it back over there. It's pretty simple. Just grab it, give it a pull until it blows. And then we move it. Ugh, I gotta have both hands. Talk to you later.